Yeah, I remember watching your match, watching Devon and Dave, and I've been your biggest critic over the years. And I remember saying, "Man, I miss Michael Todd's king move." Like I said, I miss Michael Todd's king move. Like holy fuck, man! Like I'm like, wow. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. It was crazy. But I mean, so you still have to respect two men leaving it all. I mean,
yeah.
no one has ever tried that hard. You know what I'm saying? It was it was just a car wreck that you couldn't turn away from. You know, because it's like
Now,
holy shit. And I'm in
now,
Dave's corner.
now, were you shocked when were you shocked when Dave went down as well into the king's move? Did that shock you, or did you expect that?
Okay, so I expected Dave to transition to a press.
A press, right? Yeah.
That's what I expected. But for some reason, he couldn't or he didn't feel comfortable. Um, but yeah, so once that happened, I'm like, here we are with Tim Lewis and Mac Telly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, but it was okay. So, like I said, I have nothing negative to say. It was two arm wrestlers leaving it all on the table. I had great respect for them. It was awesome. But it did make me look a lot better.
What are they up to? Like they're over 100 million views or something like that.
Last time I looked, I think it was 97 or 98, but I haven't checked
okay.
in 3 weeks. But it's a bunch of views.
Yeah, and if that was a YouTube video,
oh my god,
they'd be funding.
Somebody to get paid for sure, right?
They'd be funding events with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gavi, you got a series of questions.
Yeah. Here's one for you, Mike. If there was no WAL, no PAL, no UAL, no major professional league circulating at this point, what would you be training for?
Oh, if there was no major. Okay, so let me tell you what I would do. If there was no major league, I would do my very best to secure a national sponsor who would lease an RV, buy an RV, whatever, pay me X amount of dollars a month, wrap that sucker in their brand, and I would travel around and do arm wrestling expos or whatever,
Nice.
or I'd travel around and hit tournaments, or I'd like if say they had a product that they wanted me to demo, I would go hit a tournament every weekend, pull out the awning, demo the shit, and just go arm wrestle for fun like we used to.
Nice.
You know, because I still like awards. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm the one arm wrestler who starts his 30th year next month who's kept all his trophies, you know?
Yeah, we could see that.
Yeah, I just, to me, I wasn't into team sports as a kid, so I went to my friends and stayed the night, and they had the T-ball trophies on their shelf, and I didn't have that, so when I won my first arm wrestling award, I kept it, and I've kept everything since. I mean, I may have lost a couple dozen moving over the years, but to me, it's a money's going to be spent, right? But these are memories. Yeah. You can pretty much walk through my gym or my house and, hey, where'd you win this? Oh, that was so-and-so, and I think I beat this dude for that, you know? I mean, it's memories.
I agree, and I keep all of mine as well because I was like you. I never played the team sport, and I didn't have any of those trophies. So when I started to have a little shelf with a few on there, I had to, keep those things, and it does represent all the memories over the years. I recently thought about downsizing and like giving them to a tournament or something.
Yeah,
which would be cool, but I'm not quite there yet.
Well, see, mine is we're going to do 1,000 square foot addition to our we had a 1,100 square foot gym right now. I'm going to add an additional 1,000 square foot. I'm going to get all this stuff out of my house because we've lived here for 5 years and Rebecca's never been able to decorate because it's just been, all my shit everywhere, right? So once we finish the gym, I'm going to move everything out into the gym, and it's just going to be an inspirational, motivational place to train. And like I said, I was watching a PAL thing of, I think the Bogdan guy from wherever, and they just had a match, and he got this big ass cup. I'm like, I want that cup. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, seriously, that's pretty much all it takes for me. Hey, there's a really cool award here. Awesome. I don't have one of those. I need to go get that. So, but yeah, honestly, I think about that all the time. If it wasn't for the leagues and it wasn't for the contracts, what would I do? I would just hopefully find a sponsor and travel around and arm wrestle every weekend and just have fun.
Kind of a segue into my second question for you, and this is just my personal curiosity. Why was top 8 not an option for you? Was it because of your decision? Did they approach you? Did you?
I had negotiated my contract, and I don't know if I'm supposed to talk about it, but in a way to where I was allowed to do certain things.
Okay.
I just was not allowed to do any of those things during the WAL season.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So, the fact that it was in concurrence. Is that the right word? Concurrent with the WLCs, and it was not possible for me to do it. And for both leagues, both leagues wanted me to be exclusive to them. Well, I had already signed a contract to WL. I'm a man of my word. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. So I couldn't not do WL. Well, the reason for the leagues wanting you to be exclusive is because they don't want you being injured. They don't want to put all this money into marketing and advertising you, and you go do something else and get injured and then not be able to compete. So I respect that. But yeah, it's tough to watch because I would have liked to go to Malaysia. I've never been to Malaysia. That sounds awesome. China in a couple of weeks or a week. That would have been cool. I mean, things like that. Fortunately, arm wrestling, that's one of the things arm wrestling has done for me, is allowed me to travel the world and meet a lot of interesting people and see a lot of interesting places, and most of the time on someone else's dime, right? So I enjoy that, and I like to experience things with Rebecca and let her see things for the first time, and I get a lot of joy out of that. So those are things those are opportunities that I miss not being able to do. But at the same time, personally for me, I think the WAL is the best vehicle for me to provide for my family.
So if I could ask a follow-up question to that. So being that you've negotiated your contract in a way to, and I know we've talked about this privately, that you're allowed to do things outside of the WAL after the season is over, would you be looking for a match potentially with the winner of the top 8?
Up until about a month ago, that was my only focus, was to retain my WAL title at the finals, find out who wins, and then challenge that person for the overall number 1 in the world. So that up until a month ago, I was 100%. If you'd asked me that question, I would have said absolutely yes. So now I still feel that way, but I don't know if you guys have noticed, I have a handful of people now who think that I may be the number 1 guy in the world, right? So there's guys that say Levin, some people that say Vitali maybe, Prudnik, but really it's Levin, and then people say, oh, well, Michael Todd, I think he could be, So because of that, I feel like I have a little bit of leverage, right? And I do have a very good platform with the WL. So I'm kind of the opinion that maybe I sit back here in the WL and let them come to me. I don't know. I can't speak on that with 100% certainty because I don't want to age out, right? I'm 46 years old. I feel like there's a window of me securing the overall number 1 in the world. I am getting stronger, and this is the strongest I've ever been in my life. So it's hard to say that I could not possibly be stronger next year. I don't know, man. There's a lot. There's a lot. It's going to come down to what's the best thing for me and my family. So if it's WL and staying loyal to WL, and they somehow, do some arrangement where I get an opportunity to East versus West meet and make this thing happen, great. If it means I have to go to a different league, and so I don't want to say, because I don't know if that would burn. I don't know. There's a lot. maybe I'm not supposed to be answering this.
Maybe not. Yeah. Maybe not. But I'm sure it has to be on somebody's radar somewhere, sometime.
You would think that would be a very marketable, high potential money earning match. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, and done under the right circumstances. And in the WAL, sure would make it interesting if they were able to get one of those guys over here. But it's between Igor and the WAL on
Absolutely.
Who's that happen.
Yeah. To talk about you claiming you're stronger than you've ever been, I don't necessarily deny that. When I met you for the first time in 2005, I met you at the Black Bear Saloon in Connecticut, and you had a super match with Mike Gould. Back then, I recall you posting
I had a super match with Marcel Raboza and John Rosario.
Sorry, you're right.
Mike Gould the month earlier at North Carolina.
My mistake. You're right. At that time, I remember watching a video of you doing more or less stand-up barbell curls with a slight cheat, what I believe was over like 225 pounds for reps. Now you say you're stronger now. Are you stronger now in your limited range of motion, or are you stronger now in a complete like overall everything you've ever done?
Okay, so I've benched 520 before. There's no way in hell I could bench 520 right now.
Right.
I've squatted 600. I can't squat 600. I've deadlifted over 600. I can't deadlift over 600. So, of the things that make me stronger in arm wrestling, in my opinion,
right,
those particular movements, I'm the strongest by a significant margin I've ever been in my life.
That makes sense. Yeah,
Because I used to
makes
just
sense.
be focused on, okay, so, and that's what happened to me getting ready for push car, is I wanted to get back over that 520 bench. I wanted to get back over that 605 dead. I mean, I wanted to beat because I just felt like, it's kind of like that, what was that, Rocky, whatever Rocky it was, where they're just building, he's old and his joints hurt, and we're just building bone-crushing power, right?
Horsepower,
I was trying to just build power, and it bit me in the ass. I tore my lat, I tore my pec, because each week I was going up 10 pounds from the previous week. And an extra rep on my repping, like 405 for bench, I was going up an extra rep. I think the squats 495, I'd go up an extra rep, or deadlifts or whatever. So I think I got to like 15 or 16 reps on deads and squats with pretty heavy weight. Things were progressing well, but I don't know if that translated directly to me being the better arm wrestler. What I see the change this year is, a couple things. One, I've always done wrist rolls forward. I've never done anything backwards, ever, because I never wanted to develop, I never wanted my wrist going back, right? So I just didn't ever training going back. But I felt like I overdeveloped the inside of my cup to where I was having pain on the outside right here. Like pretty significant pain on a daily basis. Couldn't get rid of it, physical therapy, ultrasound, E-stim, everything. So I thought, maybe I'm doing this too much and not compensating, because you do your chest, you need to train your back, So I started doing reverse wrist rolls, but from a all the way rolled to flat, all the way rolled to flat. So it's still not going wrist back, but it's developing this side. I've been doing that consistently now this entire year. I have no pain there now.
Yeah, balance is huge. Balance is big.
And I've never done this much hand and wrist work this consistently, like every day. So people ask me what my workout routine looks like. My morning sessions, I'm a big advocate of fasting cardio, blah, 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 because I'm a fat boy. Genetically, I have to eat right to be right. And so I've always done fasting cardio. Well, that was always some form of, bouncing, swimming, biking, something. There's always some form of just regular cardio. Well, then in 2017, when I was getting ready for the WL finals, I started doing circuit in the morning, like cardio circuits and then weight training circuits in the evening. All that now has evolved into basically my morning circuit is forward, 30 seconds of battle ropes, forward wrist roll, reverse wrist roll, 15 rounds. Takes me about 16, 17 minutes to complete. But the pump that you get in your hand, wrist, and forearm is tremendous. Like it's like painful pumps, hand and wrist and forearm, right? To the point to where the latter rounds of the battle ropes, it's hard to grip the ropes. So that's my morning every morning. Well, then 5 days a week, I do a weight training circuit that's BFRs, 30 rep sets, just nonstop from the time I start the clock till I finish, boom. And then I go back and do a rope pulling session. So I'm rope pulling every day, right? So it's 3 sessions a day, pretty much. On non-training days, it's the morning session and then rope pulling at some point. But it's hand and wrist and forearm every day. So on a day like today, I'm still really strong, but I'm broke down every day. So I just keep doing this, and then the week of rest that I take allows me to heal to a point to where my hand and wrist are just my riser strong than it's ever been. My everything. It's just, and I think it's because I switched from just trying to be 1 rep max strong on traditional lifts and focus more on volume, on things that make me better at arm wrestling.
Yeah, it's important. I'm open to criticize, but I always have to give props where it's deserved. And when you beat Devon, I was amazed that I had many predictions throughout that match, but for him to lose his hand, to lose the rising game versus you, I thought either it's a combination of you've upped your hand training, he's slacked on his hand training, or maybe more of one, less of the other. But I thought that was impressive. He actually lost his hand versus you, and he at the time had a reputation for having an absolutely superior and dominant hand.
Yeah, and they still haven't corrected that shit on the statistics. They say he's got 10 hand and wrist, and
Dude,
I got a 7 point something.
those stats are crazy, man. Those stats, they
Don't talk to me about those stats.
I mean, my God, can y'all please fix that shit?
Fuck.
You know what I'm saying?
And like 10.3, like what? Not 10.5? Like, come on.
Yeah, how can I take his hand every match and he have a stronger hand than me? You know what I'm saying? I mean, so what happened there? And I'll just go ahead and put it all out there because I don't believe I have any holes anymore. I don't think I do now. There are two different Kings moves. There's a defensive Kings move and there's an offensive Kings move. A defensive Kings move is when you're pulling someone who's very, very explosive and you're trying to run away as much as possible. You slip, you get to the strap, and you float your fingers. You have no clamping whatsoever. You're just all up and back to stop that side pressure hit. So people are like, well, why don't you hit? I did. I hit backwards while they hit sideways, and that's what stopped them from flashing me, right? But you're floating your hand. I did not realize that was a problem until Devon beat me in 2011 because it was very effective against a hard-hitting, explosive. In 2012, it worked very, very well against Pushkar. But I didn't realize that there was I just thought Devon might have been better in 2011. And all he did was capitalize on that error in my judgment, right? So he climbed out of the strap because I had no clamping pressure, and he just walked out of it and put me in a position where he had all the leverage and I had none. So still didn't notice it yet. And then I was still training, it never got exposed, right? It never got exposed. And then in 2016, I believe it was, I was supposed to pull Andre Pushkar for the overall number one in the world. Well, he gets injured, so they put Dmitry Trubin against me. Well, on that day, I believe I would have beat Andre because Andre was a power puller. Dmitry decided to arm wrestle me more in a defensive manner, like Devon did. Rise, climb, transition. Well, once he did that, I had no answer for it. And then between that year and the next year, I realized, hey, what happens if I just clamp my hand on the back of their hand? So once I clamped my hand on the back of his hand at the 2017 Arnold, I shut down all that shit. Well, then for some reason, I didn't stick with it. and then Gasparini 3 weeks later, I was on vacation, underestimated, who knows what the hell happened. That dude was able to climb out of me. Long story short, and I think I've made it really long anyway, is I get to pull in Devon, leading up to Devon, I had that 3-inch Raptor. Well, that 3-inch Raptor is spinning, it's in your hand, and I'm just doing cable pulls. Just like that, right? Well, although I'm not going to arm wrestle this way, that clamping strength I was developing so that when I slipped with Devon, all I did, because I knew he was still going to think rise, is clamp my hand. Clamp and hit on go. Well, I had good pronation from the rope pulling machine. I had good fingertips, so on go, it flattens his hand or buckles it. If you watch the very first match, he opens his hand, closes it. He tries 3 different times to climb, but he can't because my hand's clamped. Had I been floating, he would have climbed out of the strap, did the same thing to me he did 7 years earlier. So also in that match, in match 1, I had 2 opportunities I could have pinned him. But in my opinion, I thought, I'm willing to let this match play out.
Drain him, yeah.
Because win or lose, I didn't let him beat me. He beat me. But I was cool with letting it play out because I felt like it would take more out of him than it did me. I also knew with him being an alpha male special forces badass dude, his own pride and ego would not allow me to be at the table and for him to be sitting down. So we have 90 seconds, but at 30 seconds, I'm back up there every time. And he could not allow me to be there and him not get up there. The best thing that's ever happened ever was Max Tobin telling him after round 3 when he pins me, and he's sitting over there, and I'm over there going, why are you sitting down? And Jody's like, no, we don't have to listen to that. And Mark's like, come on, Deb, show him what you're made of. Like, his own cornerman talks him into getting up. Horrible idea, right? You know what I'm saying? But it was perfect for me. So everything was playing out perfect. Everything I wanted to do was working. The only thing that didn't work is in match 5, I wanted him to quit. I just want him to quit because he makes everyone quit.
Yeah.
It was too much of a warrior to quit. So at 2.5 minutes in, I thought, I might as well pin this dude before I end up wearing out, you know? But so that match wasn't as close as it seemed, but it was I still had to do a lot to win. But Devon came up to me afterwards like, hey, dude, I appreciate you making that look better than what it was. I had opportunities in that match. I could have done things, but I wanted to try to make him quit. I wasn't able to. It sucked, but I still won. Still winning was awesome, right? So
Yeah.
that was really cool. But yeah, so on that note, and I'm gonna go ahead and tell you what I've done different this year. Rebecca's looking like I'm an idiot.